Blacks in Law Enforcement of America, and I'm also a member of the Westchester Correctional Association, which is the Westchester chapter of the National Association of Blacks in Criminal Justice. And I stand here today representing both organizations in support of George Latimer for county exec. For the last 8 years, we have seen issues from the county that has not been addressed by the current county exec, Robert Astorino. And one of the issues is cutting the crisis prevention team, response team. Because of that, we have seen cases like Kenneth Chamberlain Jr., and that has put a burden on local police departments to deal with the mentally ill. How do you schedule a crisis prevention team Monday through Friday, 9 to 5? There's no time schedule on crisis. Crisis does not work 9 to 5. Crisis is a 24-hour-a-day thing. So after the death of Kenneth Chamberlain, he moved it to 9 to 5, Monday through Saturday. So that was his improvement, but it still put more burden on the local police departments. And we had 2 more incidents dealing with mental health in our local police departments throughout Westchester County, where they ended up having to shoot individuals. So we're saying that we need leadership at the top to help the leadership in law enforcement in the 43 municipalities. Now, I'm a correction officer. I work at the Westchester County Jail. And it's no secret that there have been issues within the last 8 years at the Westchester County Jail. Officers' assaults are at an all-time high. On a daily basis, we have officers being assaulted with feces and urine. And we also have a policy that if an officer within less than 5 years get injured in doing the job that he's sworn to do, and he has less than 5 years of service, the county strips him of his health care. Yes, he strips him of his health care. And the county exec have known about this policy for 5 years now and have done nothing about it. And now we have almost over 400 officers with less than 5 years on the job that in any given day, they could get hurt, be labeled disability, and themselves and their family are stripped of health care. I would like to now bring on Dr. Bob Baskerville, who has been an advisor to Blacks in Law Enforcement of America and the Westchester Correction Association. Dr. Baskerville.
Good afternoon, everyone. I stand proudly before you today to join with my brother, Damon Jones, and Blacks in Law Enforcement in America and the Westchester Corrections Association to endorse George Latimer in his upcoming run for county executive. Certainly the choices that we face are between sound policing and correction policy that Mr. Latimer proposes to provide for us and the failed policies that Rob Astorino has endorsed over the course of his tenure. But I want to be clear to everyone that the choice and the significance of this election goes well beyond questions of police policy and corrections policy. What we face in November's election is a choice between a discredited past and a future that is inclusive of all Americans. Rob Astorino's policies in a number of areas have shown that he is allied with a vision of the past that has no place for people of color within it. His refusal to implement the federal government's court order resonates with the words of George Wallace, who promised more than 70 years ago, segregation today, segregation tomorrow, segregation forever. Rob Astorino's refusal to stand up for the immigrant men and women who have arrived to make a contribution to Westchester County, like his family did decades ago when they immigrated from Italy, shows a profound lack of commitment to a vision of an inclusive America. The choice that we face is not only between the future and the past, but it's also a choice that people of color must confront as to whether or not we will stand foursquare behind George Latimer for a progressive vision of the future, Last November, many of us abdicated our responsibility to make a clear moral stance with President Trump's candidacy. We see that Rob Astorino endorsed President Trump, and we can be sure that should Rob Astorino be reelected, it only promises a continuation of President Trump's policies here in Westchester County. On November 3rd, I encourage all my brothers, November 7th, I encourage all my brothers and sisters to make the smart choice. Get out and vote. Vote for the future, not for the past. Thank you very much, Brother Damon.
And without further ado, we'd like to bring up George Latimer, the candidate for county exec, and the one we need to vote for in November.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you very much, Damon. Thank you very much, Dr. Baskerville, for your support. I gratefully accept the endorsement of these two organizations in my race for county executive. We ask a lot out of our correction officers. We ask them, men and women, to be the guardian of the worst that we have to deal with in our society. People who have broken the law, many times violently, and have gone through the judicial process and been found guilty, and now have to be taken out of the society because they're a threat to society and they have a debt to pay to society for whatever length of time. And the men and women that organize the direction and the control of this situation need to have the support of the government at large. They need a county executive who will stand behind them with the resources they need. They need to have the proper health care and health treatment that they deserve to have because of the nature of their job. Their job is a physical job. And they're dealing at any point in time with violent people who may do violent things. So it is particularly egregious when we realize that the financial support for our correctional institution and our correctional workers has not been there under Rob Astorino. We are penny wise and pound foolish with that philosophy. And that has to change, and it will change on January 1st if we have a change on November 7th. It's important to understand that the budget is not numbers. The budget involves human beings. Right. If you are understaffed of human beings who are talented and capable, and the men and women who work there right now are talented and capable, they're well trained, they know what they have to do, they do things that you and I could not possibly do or want to do. But when they're understaffed, when they're not treated with the respect that a man and a woman grown deserves by their government, then they're really told they're not valued, or that we're going to balance the budget on the back of the people that protect us from the worst in our society. We just can't afford politics as usual. That's what we've had for 8 years. We need a change of direction. That's what I offer this county, and that's the basis upon which I accept this endorsement today, gratefully and with a great degree of humility. Gentlemen, thank you very much. Together we go forward.
Thank you. Brooke Jones made it. Okay. Brooke, please. Brooke Jones, she's the president of the Westchester Corrections Association.
Good morning, everybody. I'm also a correction officer as well as president of the Westchester Corrections Association. And I'd just like to say that we fully support George Latimer and his run for Westchester County Exec. We can't take another term of county executive, the current county executive, Astorino. We just can't do it. He shows no concern for the law enforcement officers in general, especially the correction officers at the county jail. In the jail, safety is our #1 concern. At the end of the day, we want everybody to go home safe. But there have been many assaults on the officers. Urine, feces are being splashed on the officers. Officers are getting, they come in healthy, but they go home with TB at the end of the day, and then they have to fight to keep their sick time, and instead they're forced to use all of their sick time and fight against the county in order to get some kind of benefits. Also, there has been our most main concern is this 5-year county policy that I'm sure you've all heard of. It's been in effect. Astorino has known about this county policy since 2012. So far, we have 2 officers now that have been forced to retire under disability and have been stripped of their county health benefits. These officers have families, they have children that they have to support. It's not fair to them that they put their lives on the line only to get stripped of their benefits and now have to be forced to get some other kind of optional health care, which is not as good as the POMCO that is offered to us at this present time. So therefore, we do need a change, and we are hoping that change begins with George Latimer. And therefore, we fully support him. We stand by him 100%. That's all I'd like to say. Thank you.
Thank you. I don't know if anybody have any questions before. Any questions? Oh, well, thank you for coming out. Have a good day.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Thank you.